But anyway, you should be seeing Reach Customers Online with Google. Let me see how many people are here.
So yes, you do need to let them know they're muted as well.
And everybody, to let you know that you will be able to chat, but you are muted. You will not be able to. We will not be able to hear your voice if you talk to us. All the participants are muted except myself, Amanda, and Demming, the presenter. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get started, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Reach Your Customers Online with Google. Now, my name is Joe Burnich. I'm with Big West Marketing. I am a certified Google partner, our business is, and we're actually coming from you from Missoula, Montana. We've got clients all over the country. Actually, we've got clients in Australia, the UK, Canada, anywhere where they speak English. We're there. We're working with clients in those different areas. And I'm also here with Amanda Reed, my good friend who owns Reed Mobile Marketing, and she does social media and a lot of text message and mobile marketing stuff. Go ahead and say hi, Amanda.
Hey everybody, glad to have you on. It's going to be a great webinar today, so this is definitely one you're going to be happy you signed up for.
Yeah, and so we're co-sponsoring this with a good friend, Jen Stevens, here in Missoula, Montana. She runs the local chapter for the Small Business Development Council. And so she actually was very, she helped put all this together for us. And it took a while. So I got a quick story. We were basically Google came to Missoula, Montana through the chamber. And we were asked, Amanda and I were asked to present with Google as a local partner, and it was basically this workshop that you're going to see right now, but it was live, in a hotel and all that good stuff. And so that's when we met Demming, who I'm going to introduce you to here shortly. Now, I was so excited about this. We had such a good response from everybody that I approached Demming afterwards. I was like, Demming, is it possible that we could do this in like a webinar format? Can we take this like to all of my clients, everybody that's on my list, and then just everybody that we possibly can? And he said, yeah, we can definitely do that. We have to get a sponsor, and that's when I talked to the SBDC, and we finally got this put together. So I'm super excited, guys. This is very special. This is something that is going to be really powerful, because now we're going to hear stuff directly from Google. This is your chance to ask questions. Take notes, get your pen and paper ready, because this is going to be top level stuff. This is going to be the stuff that's directly from Google, and it's all current stuff that we all need to keep up on. All right, so that being said, real quick, when you do have your questions, there's a little Q&A button somewhere, depending on the device that you're using, but there will be a Q&A button, and you can ask questions through that button or through the chat. Now, we will be answering all the most general questions that are going to help the most number of people. But if you have specific questions specific to your business or a unique situation, we are going to give you an opportunity to get that figured out at the end here. We're going to give you an opportunity to have a one-on-one session so we can get everybody's questions will be answered one way or another. But you got to stay till the end in order to get that information. All right. But basically, I'm going to introduce Demming here. Demming is one of 12 national Google speakers. Is that right, Demming?
That's correct. Yeah.
And so like I said, this is very special, guys. This is very limited. I'm so glad that you could make it. We had 103 people register, but only 100 are getting in. So for those of you that got in, congratulations. And Demming, go ahead and take it away. We're gonna spend about an hour with Demming, and then we're gonna go through a question and answer session at the end. So go ahead, Demming.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joe, and thank you all for joining. We've got an exciting presentation for you here today. And I will say this before I jump in. As one of the few Google national trainers and speakers, I get to travel all over the country and help to present this to small and medium-sized businesses. And it was a pleasure to work with Joe and Big West Marketing. And I'll tell you, they're one of our Google partners. And honestly, of all the partners I work with, Big West Marketing is one of the best certified partners. So these guys are going to be some great expertise for you guys out there and a great resource as well. So we're going to jump in today and talk about, I know you signed up and you want to hear about Google. And like Joe said, we're going to talk about some of the latest trends and topics and the latest of some free tools that you may not know about that Google has that is designed to help you guys get more customers, get more new customers, and also to build that customer loyalty and get customers to come back again and again to purchase your products and services. And I always joke around when we're doing these presentations, people want to come in and they want to learn about marketing and they want to learn all these technical things. But at the end of the day, for most of us as small and medium-sized businesses, we just want to make more money and get more customers. And oftentimes when we're able to do that, we're able to, that just solves a whole lot of issues. So for this next hour, I'm going to give you some great tips in these three different areas. And the thing I love about this presentation for you guys, no matter where you are, kind of in your area of expertise, or maybe you don't consider yourself an expert at all, everything that I'm going to share with you today is easy to do. Each one of these three areas I'm going to talk about, literally today, you can spend about 15 to 20 minutes in each area to have this up and running. So they're easy to do, but they're also very, very effective. And almost all of these things that I'm going to share with you are things that you can do at no cost at all. So it's all free. And that's why we're so excited to be able to share this with businesses from across the United States and really across the world. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how can you reach local customers with a free tool called Google My Business Listing. And we're going to show you this will basically guarantee, once you set up your Google My Business Listing, it'll pretty much guarantee that your business information with your telephone number and where you're located on Google Maps and all sorts of great business information is going to show up on that very first search page when they search for your business in a local setting. Then we're going to jump into give you some tips on search engine optimization and give you the latest tips on what Google uses when they're out there scanning all the websites when somebody's doing a search for potentially your business or product or service. What are the things that Google is looking for to make sure that your site is the best, most relevant site for the person doing the search? And if you get that down, that and some of these tips I'm going to share with you are going to definitely improve your rankings and help you move up in what we call the organic search results. Those are the results that you can't pay for advertising to affect those. And then finally, we're going to wrap up by giving you a quick little easy introduction into online advertising with Google. And we'll talk about some of the different options out there, give you some of the basics of how it works, and then give you some tips on how you can create a great campaign and a great ad. At each one of these three areas, after this hour, you can literally jump in, and in about 15 to 20 minutes, if you follow some of the tips that I share in these three areas, you are going to have a pretty solid and effective and a robust digital marketing strategy with all of the different free tools that Google has to offer. So let's talk about reaching local customers with Google My Business and why it's so important. It's funny, before I started doing this for Google, I never really thought that much about it because nobody ever does. But if you think about where we are in this time in history, this is the first time in history that this scenario happens. And just think about your own experience in the past couple of weeks. How many times have friends or colleagues or family or your kids mention something and you find yourself pulling out your smartphone and you just start typing in a few words and you are ready to either learn something or go somewhere. Maybe you go on YouTube, you want to learn a new skill. You want to go, you're trying to find directions. So you hop on Google Maps. You want to do something. And sometimes you want to buy something. Somebody mentions, especially now with the holidays, they mention something. And literally in a couple of minutes, you typed in a couple of words. And then literally within 4 or 5 minutes, you pulled out your credit card and you have purchased a product or service that 10 minutes ago you did not even know existed. And that is why it is so important for you to have your business information show up when people are searching for you and to make sure that that information is correct. And so that's what today is all about. So today with Google My Business especially, it's all about connecting with customers in what we at Google, we call moments that matter or micro moments. And you can see the stats here. 87% of smartphone owners turn to search first in a moment of need. And just think about how many times you turn to your smartphone when you need something. And the research also shows that 1 out of 3 will end up, they're more loyal to the brand that shows up in that moment of need than potentially the brand or the company or the product they were thinking about when they did that search. And that next stat, 30% of all mobile searches are related to location. That's important because for a lot of us out there, when we think about Google, we think about maybe somebody finding us globally. But the reality is most of your customers are going to be looking for you locally. For a lot of us, your customer base is within a 20 to 30 mile radius of your physical location. And that is the place, too, where people are going to be looking to try to find you. And I always like to share this story before we jump in to give you an idea of how Google My Business works versus the other regular search engine marketing or when people are searching organically. I'm blessed to have twin daughters that are 9, and we all share actually the same birthday, which is May 11th. And a couple of birthdays ago, when they were turning 8, we were setting up for their birthday party out at the little neighborhood pool. And kids were going to arrive in an hour, and we set out the cake and started setting out the cake and some of the other stuff. And their dog, Bailey, a Labradoodle, jumped up and knocked the cake off and started eating it with less than an hour, right at an hour for the kids to arrive. So the first thing that I did was I pulled out my smartphone, right? And I knew that we had bought it from the local grocery store down the street called Publix. And I just typed in Publix, but I didn't need to go looking at websites. I didn't need to go research. I just knew, hey, that Publix around the corner. I need to see if they can get a cake here, or we can pick up one within an hour. And if you're like me, what is so funny about the world we live in today where everything's GPS driven, like I couldn't even remember the exact name of the street that the Publix was on. I just knew that, go out of our neighborhood, we hang a right, we hang a left, and it's at an intersection. So I typed in the Publix in Google Maps, and I found the one that was closest. I'm like, yep, that's the one. Clicked on the little icon. And all I needed was just the phone number, right? So what pulls up in that instance, what I'm going to show you first, which is a Google My Business listing, where it had their hours of operations, photos, they were on the map, they had the telephone. All I needed was just really quick, punch in the number, call them and say, hey, can you get a cake here? Do you have a cake, preferably a Trolls cake, because it was a Trolls themed birthday party. They were able to do that, and so they were able to save the day. And that's, as I tell that story, you probably think of hundreds of different stories that are similar to you, but that's the importance of having a Google My Business listing that shows up right there on the very beginning of the search page.
And Demming, can I jump in real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
So we got a lot of people on here that have like home service businesses, whether it be carpet cleaning, plumbing, roofing, something like that. And I think this really applies to them as well, because if there is an accident on the carpet and somebody's in that frantic mode and they need to find a carpet cleaner real quick, or if the roof is leaking or something like that, I think it definitely applies. Google My Business and the location and all the stuff you're talking about definitely applies to those guys as well. Would you agree?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's perfect because, people, it's all about ease of business, and they're going to want to find the person that's closest to them. I mean, I think about all the times, even like oil changes and stuff like that. When I need an oil change or I need something, I usually go with the place that's closest to me. And then I look at reviews. We'll talk about that too. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people realize how localized it's gotten. So you're going to see different results when you're on one side of the city than on the other side of the city when you're searching for any kind of like local services or local businesses. So I think that's an important point people need to understand.
Yep. So here real quick before I jump into how you create one, I also want to share this because I'm a big believer in fundamentals and understanding the why behind this. So this is how Google works. And most people don't ever think about how Google works unless they work for Google. But it comes back to that moment that's going to trigger them typing in a few words. So as we go through the presentation, I want you to take off your business hat, try to put on your customer hat and start thinking, what would be the trigger? What would be the event where people would start putting in, and what would those words be when they would begin to hopefully start trying to find me? So over here on the left in step one, you had Bailey. That was the triggering event, knocking off the cake. So step 2, in this case, it's Aisha's Bakery, but I typed in Publix. Step 3, it pulls up all the search queries, and basically all that's happening here, and I know this is fundamental, but it's amazing how many times we just don't think about it. All Google is doing at this stage is it's just pulling up links to a whole bunch of websites, but it's trying to rank the websites based on what Google has defined as the best, most relevant website for the search, what you put in, and it's based on a lot of different factors that we're going to cover today. But when you click on that link, step 4 is going to be taking it to your website. And Google's job ends between step 3 and step 4. But the reason we share step 4 is because it's important for you. I mean, you could spend all the money in the world on Google advertising. You could do the best SEO to get your links up there on step 3, showing up at the top of the page, and it'll be driving traffic to your website. But Google's job ends at the end of step 3. When they get to your website, it's important for you to have a website that is easy to understand and it is relevant. They can very quickly find and get what it is that they're looking for. So because of that, I'm going to give you some great little tips to make sure that your website is a high converting and a high performing website as well. So let's jump into what a Google My Business listing is and how you can get one created. This is the page. If you want to write this down, if you're taking notes, definitely write down that link at the bottom, gybo.com/business. This is the link that I want you to go to after the webinar today to start and to start to create and then have your business verified through Google My Business. And on the screen, you'll see that big area over to the right. You've probably seen that hundreds of times on a search page with the map and the photos and all this. And a lot of people think that that's an advertisement that people pay for with all that real estate right there on that front page. But what it actually is, that is the Google My Business listing, absolutely free. And that's what I'm going to sort of teach you on what you can go in and to create it. It's basically, I've likened it to, it's almost like a mini website right there on the very first page of the search query. And again, you can put all of your business information up there. You can have your address so people can find you through Google Maps. You can add photos. You can have a link to your website. You can have your hours of operation, your telephone number, and then customers can leave reviews, and you can post information about your products and services. And again, all of this is absolutely free once you go to gybo.com/business and create it. Now, what's going to happen when you go to that link, you'll simply just start putting in your website, and it'll prompt you just step by step how to create it. When you put your website in, you'll get one of 3 responses. One will say, congratulations, you've got a Google My Business listing. That means that you or somebody at your business had created already a Google My Business listing, and it's been verified by Google that it is an actual business at that location. If you get that message, I still want you to go in and make sure that you can edit it and make sure that you can make sure all of your information is up to date. The second option that you might get is a screen that says, it looks like you have a Google My Business listing, but it may be incorrect. That means that you or somebody at your business in the past had created the Google My Business listing, but it has never been verified by Google. This is important because it's a 2-step process. When you create it, once you create it, it's going to ask you to verify me. You click the Verify Me button, and what that does is Google will send to the location that you put in as your business address a postcard within 5 to 7 business days. And on that postcard, you'll have a passcode that you can go back in, and you put the passcode in, and then that verifies that you are actually a business at that location. Now, let me also jump in real quick on the third response, and I'm going to jump back to who this is for, and what types of businesses this is for. So anyways, if you get that message that looks like it's incorrect, you just need to make sure that you get verified, and then you'll be done. The third response, which is what most of you guys will probably get, is you don't have a listing at all. So you just simply follow the prompts and you go through step by step to create the listing and then have it verified. Now, I want to say one thing about this. The Google My Business listing is really all about local search, being found locally when people search for your business, or being found on Google Maps, which means that this is really only for businesses where you have face-to-face interactions with customers at your place of business, or you go out and you meet with customers face-to-face within a specified service area. So what that means is if you have a business and all you sell, maybe everything's all e-commerce, everything's online, you don't have that physical address, you're not meeting with anybody, then this isn't for you. It also doesn't take businesses that if you have a PO box, or some of us maybe might be at UPS stores, they don't accept that because they can't verify that you're a business at that local location. But there is a way around that, and I'll share that with you too. It's not for anything like Airbnbs or VRBOs. And then if you have like a seasonal business, the example I use a lot of times are like farmers markets. It's not for seasonal locations either, because, I mean, just think about it. If, let's say you're a farmers market in downtown at a parking lot from May to June, but somebody does a search for farmers markets in November, and they see you and they see Google Maps and they get directions and they drive 45 minutes there, and then you're not there, that's frustrating. And so that's what we want to avoid with that. So I will say this really briefly. If you have a PO box, but you are a physical location where people can come visit you, or you will visit them within a service area, you will come and meet with them, then when you're creating your Google My Business listing, simply go in and put in your actual physical address. And also, by the way, this is for any businesses out there. If you're a home-based business and you don't want the icon to show up on your address so people are coming at 11:30 at night on a Saturday, go ahead and put in your physical address for your home. But you'll be asked a question that says, I do not want to show up on maps, or do you provide services within a specified service area? When you get to those questions, check both of those off, and a pop-up will come up, and it will allow you to create a radius of the service area that you service. So this could be a radius. It could be around your home office or around your location. It could be a city. It can be zip codes. It's whatever you choose. A good rule of thumb, because then people, hey, can I do a radius of the whole United States? And I'd say, well, you could, but that defeats the purpose. Remember, this is about local meetings face to face. So a good rule of thumb is just think about how far you're willing to travel for one day to meet with a client or a customer and back. And if that is 100 miles, then go ahead and do the radius for 100 miles. But if you handle it that way.
Can I chime in real quick on that?
Sure.
Demming. So So we definitely always, because when we work with a lot of service-based businesses that want to service, several different cities, right? So they got their home base, and then they got a bunch of like suburbs that they want to service. And we definitely have people spread that radius out as far as they want to travel, but we still find that when people are searching, it's going to be as close to their home city, where their physical address is, whether it's their house or their office, whatever that may be. It's the searches will still, go as close to the actual physical location as possible. And the more competition that we see in that city, the harder it is to go, farther out. And that's when we have people use Google Ads as opposed to Google My Business, which I know you're going to talk about shortly. But I just kind of wanted to chime in with that real quick.
That's a great point. But anyways, so this is the great thing about Google My Business. It looks great on desktops, on tablets, and then mobile devices. If you see the mobile device in the middle, you've probably seen that before in all the blue. That is an actual Google My Business listing. So what I love about once you have this set up, and this is what you're missing out on if you don't have this, is the entire screen on the mobile device is going to show nothing but your business information. None of your competitors' information. They're going to scroll down and really work to find anything about your competitors. So that's what I love about it. A couple of tips when you're creating your listing. Make sure that all of your business information, you put it all in. A lot of us will want to run in, spend 5 minutes, and run out, but make sure it's correct. You would be surprised how many businesses will put in incorrect phone numbers, or they'll have an address off by just one digit, which causes an issue. Also, make sure that you go in and you add special hours. Once you get verified, you can go in and edit it, like the holiday hour. Because how many times have you been searching, especially this time of year, and you're running around finding gifts, have an idea, you search for a store, and you've seen that message, the hours come up, but it says something like Thanksgiving or Christmas may affect after close. I'm going to go on to the next. You don't want to have, you can. Okay, yes. So photos, what I recommend is going in and actually adding some quick photos of your product or your service or your employees. Or if you have a really cool space, you can use a Google trusted photographer, and you can Google that and find those photos. And Joe, I don't know, do you guys offer that as a Google trusted photographer?
We have a Google trusted photographer that we refer people to. But in-house, we don't have that yet. We're working on that.
Yeah. So the importance of photos, that I always talk about LinkedIn. It's like if you've ever been contacted by somebody on LinkedIn, and then they have all their information up there, but then all you see, you don't see a photo, you just see the little profile image of a person. And a lot of times you may think, well, gosh, is that a real person, And so you don't want that to be the case. You don't want people to say, is that a real business? And that's the importance of adding photos to your listing as well. So next, this is, once you get your Google My Business listing set up, this is really important because these are some different ways you can engage with customers. So it's not just about having your information, you can actually engage with them. And the 3 ways that you can do this, and what's interesting is I've seen so many businesses, they'll create a Google My Business listing, and then they never take advantage of these ways to engage. So one way is you can share updates with posts. And as you see right here, this is an example of a company that has created a post here, 72% sales. So you can put in sales, you can put in promotions, you can put in contests. If you have events, you can have events where people can reserve a seat, and just you can link this right to the page on your website where they can purchase it. So if you're not taking advantage of this, this is like free advertising and really great real estate on that search query page, right on that very first search query page, a great way to drive new sales for your business. The other thing that you can do is you can set up, you can go in, when you go in and edit, once it's up and verified, you can go in and have people message you, or they can send text messages to you. And you can set this up. You can also take it down. The thing about this, they won't see your telephone number, so don't worry about that. They're not going to stalk you. But it is a great opportunity if any of your businesses out there, if you have a lot of appointments and you just want them to say, hey, can you meet tomorrow at 3? And you can text them back. So that's great too. And then the third way you can build engagement is you can read and respond to reviews. So customers can leave reviews. And what I recommend is as you're creating your page, go ahead and find 5 or 6 of your best customers or friends that have done business with you and ask them to go, and once you have it set up, go and leave a great review. It's completely ethical to do that as long as it's a true story and as long as you're not paying them to do it. And a great tip that I share with people when you're asking for reviews to keep them to where it's writing a good review is, and also keep them from having to think too hard. Because a lot of times, if we're honest, when we ask for reviews or people ask us, we think it'll take up too much work. But ask them these 3 questions and just ask them to answer in 1 sentence each. The first question is, in 1 sentence, can you describe the problem you're facing? The second question is, how did you use us to solve the problem? And the third question is, what did life look like after that? Or what did success look like after that? And if they follow that formula, you're going to have great reviews. And if you get 5 or 6 posts up there and you get your 5-star post, then if you ever do get a negative review, and sometimes you will, people get annoyed by that. Don't worry about it, because people, just like we all do when we look at reviews, there's always that one or that are negative. But when they respond with it, we'll automatically be able to, you'll be notified, you'll automatically be notified when you get the review. So you can say, absolutely, we love you guys. Thanks so much for being a customer. When you get that negative review, oftentimes they sound irritated to begin with. And just be nice, professional, and courteous and say, we hate that happened to you. That's not a normal experience here with our business. Call me directly and I will take care of it. And what will happen is most likely they're never going to call you. But to everybody that looks at that negative review and they saw how quickly and professionally you responded, and then they don't see anything after that, they're going to assume that you took care of them. So that's how you would handle some of those negative reviews. Google cannot really get involved in the different reviews and taking down negative reviews, because they can't get into a he said, she said. The best way to handle that.
I want to just, for those people that didn't hear that exactly, Demming was just giving tips on reviews, basically, and this is gold too, by the way, guys. This is the kind of stuff that's really going to take your business to the next level.
Okay, if it does get choppy, just feel free to stop me.
Okay.
And then I'll try to start back over and cover that area. So how do I sound right now?
You sound perfect now, and I can see the screen now, so go ahead and take it away.
Okay, perfect. So now this part, we're going to talk a little bit about search engine optimization techniques that are going to help you improve your ranking when it comes to organic search results. So when we talk about organic search results, of course, that is down here below the ads. We all skip over the ads, right? We don't want to pay attention to ads. We want to get to the real stuff down here. And the reason we think that is because it's true. Advertisers cannot pay to increase the ranking. What Google looks at in this case is and it's as simple as this. Search engine optimization can sound complicated, but it's not. They're looking at all these factors to simply think about what is the best, most relevant information for the person doing the search. So in this case, one of the best ways you can make sure your website shows up and is relevant and the best site is that organization matters. Make sure you have the best, most important information up at the very top of your homepage on that very first screen before they scroll. A great tip and a great technique to do this is to follow something called the grunt test, which came up by a guy named Donald Miller, who's the CEO of StoryBrand. And the grunt test is simply this. Imagine if you had a friend that was a caveman and you invited to take them over to have coffee, and they didn't know anything about your business, but you brought your laptop and you opened your laptop and you shut your website. You shut it. And then you ask the caveman these 3 questions. And you should have a website that is so clear to understand that the caveman can grunt out simple answers to these 3 questions. The first question is, what is it that you do? Very simple. What does your company or what does your product or service do? The second question is, how is it going to make your life better? How is your company or how is your product or service going to make your audience's life better? And the third question is, how did they get it? It's as simple as that. How do I get your product and service? And if your website at the very top of your webpage, if people don't clearly know what it is that you do or how it's going to help them out or how they can get it easily, then you're not going to have a website that's very relevant. If you think about how many people, you're only on your phone, your smartphone for a minute at a time. And you don't want a site that's too creative, too clever, and you don't want a site that has War and Peace on it, too much copy. They're there very quickly. If you remember what we talked about at the beginning, they're looking to do something or go something or get something. And you want to have that clear call to action button that's buy me, register today, schedule an appointment, get a quote, with just a couple of words that talk about what to do, be very simple, and then how can that make their life better. The other thing that you can do when it comes to search engine optimization is just think about the words that people would use when they begin doing the search. You can start with your company name, and then near me or in Missoula or in Atlanta or around Atlanta. Then think about the category, think about the products and services Think about seasonal, and if you're a bakery and it's Christmas cookies, right? So think about all the ways people would actually search for you. And then the key is write down that list and then go back in and actually look at your website and see if you actually use those words or those phrases. It's amazing how often something as little as that, we don't do that. That grunt test I mentioned is also going to help provide useful original content so you're not copying other pages. Good text links from other credible websites or organizations, that's going to help. Really good descriptions and page titles, a fast load time. We're going to talk about that in a second. And then make sure you optimize your images. When you optimize your image, what that means is for those of you that are maybe you do your websites on your own, you'll see when you upload a photo, you can edit it and it'll ask you for a caption. And we know what a caption is. Here's a couple of some free tools that you can use that are free. The first is Google Search Console, and you'll want to write this down, google.com/webmaster. This allows you to go in and to view your website the way Google views your website. You'll see if there are errors on any pages. You'll be able to go in and edit those words that show up on the search page. Before your link, you can add words in, take words out. You can also see how people are finding you through search queries that those guys may be using. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I want to give you some tips. 3 things that are going to allow you to get more engagement on your website and drive traffic to your website. The more engagement you get where people are going and they're downloading information, again, that tells Google that you have a useful website that's providing a great customer experience. You are relevant. One is by through content marketing. Think about, and this could be video as well, and more video is going to help you as well in the rankings. But think about how you are an expert in your field, and think about an article or a top 10 list or any type of information that's going to be able to help them in some way that they may be able to download from your website and use in something that's really high value, that's going to make them want to come back. And if you create a plan where they can come back again and again to get that, that's great. This is a great tool that you can use called google.com. It's trends. If you go to google.com trends, and you can go in and do a search for what are the most popular words or phrases that people are using right now, and see if they apply. And then you can look at your industry, you can look at your business, you can look at your products and services. Over here is an example of a bakery that's looking at gluten-free. People search for gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian. And if you think about, probably a lot of us have friends that are now on gluten-free diets, and we never heard of gluten-free probably 8 years ago. So, if she's noticing that suddenly there's more and more of a trend, she's going to want to add gluten-free products to her bakery, right? And then she's going to want to go back in, and she's going to want to add gluten-free into the words that are on her website, so that now she's showing up higher when people are searching, for example, for gluten-free cupcakes. So think about how you can take this same concept and what are the words that people are searching for that can lead them to your business. So now, as we wrap up here with the last piece, now I'm going to focus a little bit on Google advertising. Some of you may still be like, well, I want to show up right there on that very first page. And honestly, with all the websites that are out there, if you do the tips I just gave you, you're going to start showing up higher and higher in the organic search results. I want to talk to you about ways you can show up right there at the top. Now, we all know what the ads are. This is an example of the text ad that you have here. You can see the retail ads with the photos. We know these are text ads because it says ad right there. And oftentimes we skip over this part because we're going to the organic search results. But this is really important because this works some of the best advertising, most effective advertising than anything else that's out there. And the reason for that is if you go back to the beginning and you think about your own life experience, and when you begin a search, you are ready to do something. You're ready to go somewhere. You're ready to purchase something. So here in this scenario, which is search advertising, search marketing, you can bid in real time on the phrases that you think people will use to find your product or service, or a product and service like you. Now, when you bid on that, and it varies, it could be It could be 75 cents. It could be $1.25. It could be $4.25, depending on the popularity of the word. But what happens is you only pay when people click on your ad, or if you see right here, you've got a telephone number, which I love, if they call you. And what happens is that's not the number for your business, but it is forwarded to the number of your business, so you can track the number of calls you're getting through Google. But you only pay when they click or when they call. So all those times we've scanned over them, we've never paid attention to them. No business ever paid for any of those ads. So you are able to pay, and you're able to see the benefits because you'll see the clicks or you'll get the calls. And that's how you know your ad is working. I'll tell you a true story about how this works. It was last Valentine's Day, and I knew I needed to get my mom Valentine's Day flowers. And being a guy, I waited and waited until literally it was lunch on Valentine's Day. And I'm in the little Ruby Tuesdays. I pull out my smartphone, and my mom lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I typed in florist in Charlotte. The very first thing that pops up was an ad. And in the ad, it said, same day delivery, 15% off your Valentine's Day order. Now, did I need to scroll past that and go down and do research on florists? The answer obviously is no. This was perfect. This is just what I needed. I couldn't believe they could do it same day. Clicked on it, and then I purchased the flowers. That's how this works. So if you're able to tap into when you're typing in those words, they're ready to take action. So if you have some type of incentive that speaks to them right away, once they click on it, if they skip over it, you don't pay a thing, and they weren't serious customers to begin with. But if they like your offer and they click or they call, then they're very, very likely to want to do business with you. Now, this is the other type of
Can I chime in real quick on that one, Demming?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so ever since we started doing Google Ads for our clients, we've been doing a lot of testing and split testing to see exactly what gets the ads to work versus like the SEO stuff. What's really interesting is it seems like, from what we can tell so far, is that as long as you have some sort of special offer, some sort of discount, coupon, whatever it may be, that the people that click on the ads are the people that kind of want that instant gratification and want like a deal. So if you just run Google Ads without any kind of offer, you're not going to have as good as results as like the competitors that are offering stuff. That's just something we've known across the board. That in contrast with SEO, people would rather, look for the higher quality stuff and do a little bit more research and read reviews and stuff like that. So there's two different kinds of people. There's people that click on the SEO stuff, and then there's people that click on the ads. And the people that click on the ads, they want a deal and they want stuff done quickly. I just wanted to kind of chime in and say that's what our research has found so far.
Yeah, and that's a great point because, and again, everybody just think about your own personal experience. When you're clicking, and in those cases, especially if it's a lower priced item, you're ready to buy right then. I mean, you're ready, and you might be in your car or whatever, but you're ready to go. And so having that discount is going to be a tremendous help. So this is another way to advertise. That what I just showed you was called search marketing. And this is the Google Display. This is some display advertising through the Google Display Network. And this is where your ads can show up on millions of different partner websites. Some of the biggest ones obviously would be Gmail, since it's owned by Google, and YouTube, which is owned by Google. This is where you can create an advertising campaign based on the context, based on who your audience is. Are they young moms with kids in preschool that are looking for games or toys, right? You can target that. And also you can do what's called retargeting, where you can actually run campaigns where people may have gone to your website they didn't purchase, and you can retarget anybody that visited your website that didn't purchase, and now they see your ads for your products and services. And we've all probably experienced that, where we've gone looking for something, and then we come back and you get on Gmail the next day or any website the next day and you see those ads. That's what's happening there. And again, if you can see that, and if you don't click, you don't pay, or you don't click. If they don't click, you don't pay, or if they don't call, you don't pay. But what this all actually does is helping to build your brand over time, which is also almost equally valuable. So If you're interested in trying out some Google advertising, you can go down here to ads.google.com and you can start, and it literally will walk you through creating an easy automated advertising campaign. But what you want to do is define your goals in advance. So define what it is that you want to get out of it. How many clicks would you like to get out of it? I personally am a big fan of phone calls because I know if I get a call, for example, if I get 10 calls and I'm able to talk to 10 people, then on average, historically, I know that I can close 2 of those customers. And then you can factor in, well, what's the customer value or the lifetime value of your customer? And let's say, for example, my 2 customers, maybe it's $5,000 each. Well, that's $10,000 that I know I can make from 2 people that I can close from 10 calls. So therefore, my goal would be, what can I do? I want to get 10 calls per month from my website, right? And so that's how you can kind of back in how much you want to spend. But I encourage everybody, just try $100 campaign and just see and watch and experience the clicks or the phone calls and see if it's working for you. If it works for you, do more of it. If it doesn't work for you, it was only, $100. But most people will see that impact because it happens in real time. Number 2, create compelling ads. A really easy way to do this is just to do a search for what you think, using words what people would search for your company, and then see what are your competitors' ads that are showing up. Look at those ads and see how you can tweak those or make those better. Or to Joe's point, if they're 20% off, maybe you do 25% off, right? But especially for a lot of us that are small businesses competing with the big guys, those big guys have spent millions of dollars and they have experts. Just kind of piggyback on what they've created, but make it your own. Again, next, third is you can control where the ads are displayed, and they'll walk you through that. Do you want it on YouTube? Do you want it on, websites frequented by women or men or a certain part of the country? Do you want to target people on their mobile devices versus display advertising? Again, you can create the pay-per-click phone calls, and then you can track performance and improve. The other thing that I'll talk about too, one thing that I do need to mention, sometimes I don't, is that you can set the budget. So you can do that. I'm going to set up for $100, and as soon as the clicks or the phone calls reach $100, then it cuts off. So you're able to control that and make it really affordable for you. So wrapping up, and then we'll take a couple of questions. These are your next steps. Again, 15 minutes. If you go to either google.com/business or gydo.com/business, create your Google My Business listing, and that'll guarantee that your site, your business information is going to show up when people search for your company in the local area. Number 2, think about that grunt test. Think about some ways you're going to drive traffic, the words you want to use on your website, and then make those improvements to speed up your website, and you're going to start showing up higher in the organic search result. And then finally, consider running a $100 campaign, whether it's search or display, and so that your ads show up right there when people search for the words that you think they're going to search for when they're looking for your product or service. And if you do these 3 things, it's guaranteed that you're going to see more success in reaching those customers when they're looking for your business. All of these resources that I shared with you today, you have to have a Google account, like a Gmail account, to access them. And you can go here to google.com/accounts and set up a free account if you'd like to do that. These are the links to all the resources. This might be, if you're watching right now, you could do a screenshot if you want, or you can come back to this, and of course you'll have access to the recording. This is a great page to do a screenshot real quick because these are all the links to all the free tools that you have that we covered today. And then with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and maybe we have time for a few questions. I will say, we'll cover some general questions. If you have some specifics, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to Joe and Big West Marketing here at their website or the telephone number, and they can talk to you specifically about your business or some of the unique situations or technical issues. These guys are, like I said, one of the best partners that we have in the country. So definitely trust these guys and would encourage you to do some work with them. And with that, I'll open it up for a couple of questions for everybody.
Okay, all right, Demming, I'm back on. Sorry, had an issue finding the mute button there, the unmute button.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, we got some really good questions coming in here. Let me kind of start here from the back. So one person had a question. So when you were talking about photos for the Google My Business account, somebody asked, how often do you suggest that we post photos on our Google My Business account?
That's a good question. And that brings up another great point on SEO. You can post them. I would post on a regular basis. It's not something you need to do every day, but every week or a couple weeks. But that brings up another point. One of the other things that will help you with the organic search results is to consistently update your website. And it doesn't have to be big. It can just be little edits, little changes. But again, when Google's looking for best, most relevant information, imagine if it's two different bakeries and you have one bakery that updated the website last week and another bakery, they created the website a year and a half ago and they haven't updated anything. Google is going to think the one with the latest updates is more relevant. So that would be my recommendation on the photos.
Perfect. Okay. And then another common question that we get a lot is, and Lori Warden just asked this, is does having a Google ad help with the organic results? Does it help with the SEO results?
So yes, but probably not in the way that you're thinking. One of the reasons that it helps, and this is also why having a Google My Business listing helps, is that it's going to drive traffic to your website. So it's going to drive more engagement than if you didn't have it at all. And so again, the more engagement, what that says to Google is that you have a good website that people are wanting to come to. And they don't know necessarily. I mean, I guess they would know how they're coming to. But we don't necessarily factor in the fact that you advertise that drives it up. But the fact that you are advertising, so it's just another vehicle to drive traffic to your website and increase engagement, that's where that helps with your SEO.
Yeah, and what's interesting is we're starting to connect. There's a way to connect the Google My Business with the Google Ads account. And sometimes Google will actually let you display an ad inside like the little Maps 3-pack section. It's never guaranteed that you can get in there, but if you do get in there with an ad, it'll show your reviews and it'll make it look more like a listing than an ad. And the people that have done that have had like some really good results. So we're still working on that and figuring all that stuff out, but that's coming soon.
Yeah, and that's just another way why I would recommend Big West and Joe, because they're able to think creatively about these unique ways that even for us, these guys are in it every single day with businesses just like yours. So they're able to play around and find some unique ways to leverage all of this.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, and like I said, we're willing to talk with anybody free of charge. If you just have some questions and you want to go over your business situation and see what we can do for you, or just get some good advice, get started in the right direction, Big West here is more than happy to help you out with that. Just go to our website, bigwestmarketing.com. You can book a session. You can call us, whatever you want to do. One last question here comes from Jennifer Stevens. She's saying, how can an e-commerce business use Google My Business if they are based out of a residence and don't want their address out there? That's kind of has to do with the hiding the address like you were talking about before, right, Demming?
Yeah, so that's the thing I was saying. Unfortunately, if it's all completely e-commerce, it's really not set up, and Google technically would not approve that. But you could try what I mentioned, which is you provide a local service area and do a radius around it. But still, you got to keep in mind that Google My Business is really for people looking for that local presence. And a lot of times when you're selling something online or e-commerce, it's a little bit bigger than just, within a 20 to 30 mile radius. But that would be the tip that I would share, is to go back and put in your physical address for your home. But when it asks you if you provide to a local service area or you don't want it to show up on the map, click on that, pick a radius or pick a city, and then they'll send the passcode to your home business where you have the physical location, and then you can be verified that way.
Yeah, and I'll use my business as an example for how we do that. We're not e-commerce, but we are, we do work nationally. We work internationally, but I still have my local Google My Business listing here in Missoula, Montana. So if somebody in Missoula is to search something like Internet Marketing Missoula, Search Engine Optimization Missoula, something like that, we do come up in the maps section just for Missoula, but I want to get out there to the rest of the world, so that's when I start doing my organic stuff that shows up below the maps, and then we come up for all kinds of stuff nationwide, worldwide, for different types of search inquiries. So Jen, that's probably what you would have to do as well, is you get your Missoula one, but then for the national stuff you'd have to go organic, not the little maps section. Demming, I know you're on a tight schedule here. Do you have time for one more question, or should we cut it off right here?
Sure. Yep. I'll take one more.
Okay, let me find a good one here. Okay, Pam is saying, my business is verified locally in Montana, but I recently moved out of state. How do I update my address for my Google My Business listing?
Okay, so that's a pretty technical question, and I could tell you, but the easiest thing to do, there's a couple of sources, and it'll take you through step by step and kind of walk you through that. Is number one of the resources, and I think, Joe, you've used this before, is the Google Twitter account, twitter.com/Google Small Biz, BIZ. If you go there and ask them about that, they are excellent at responding and giving you the step-by-step instructions for that. And some of you out there may have other questions like that, or I can't get access into my account, things like that. That is a perfect resource for you to do that. And also you can go to google.support.com and you can type in specifically questions like that, and they'll take you step-by-step through that. It's kind of hard to explain just over a webinar.
And we can help with that too. Yeah, we can help specifically with that as well, Pam. If you want to book an appointment, somebody from our office will definitely help you out with that.
But it'll allow you to close that down, create your new listing, and do that as well. But there's other questions. Some of you guys may have questions about. Again, you can't get in. I will throw this out there, because this is a common issue. Like they try to go in, they try to claim your Google My Business account. There's already one set up, but they can't get into it. 90% of the time, that's because whoever set it up, or when you set it up, it is tied to your Gmail account or your Google account, which is usually your Gmail. But sometimes we all have different Gmail or Google accounts. And so make sure, go up to the top right-hand corner of your screen and click on your little image and see what you're logged in as. Because it may be that you're logged in as a different email than the email that was used and is associated with the account. So you'll want to go in and log in with the email that was associated with the account. And that probably takes care of 90% of the problems when people are having trouble claiming their listing.
Yeah, we see that all the time. They have multiple Gmails. They forgot which one they opened the account with, or they had an employee or a business partner that opened up, or another marketing company a long time ago. We're actually working with somebody that has 6 different businesses and can't get into any of them because some marketing company just took all their information and disappeared. And we're working with Google right now to get access to all 6 of those businesses. And it's kind of a pain, but you got to go through the support system, and you got to, it's definitely a process, and we can help people out if they're having problems like that, similar to that. Just give us a call or set up an appointment. Demming, I want to say thank you for doing this free workshop for everybody. I can't thank you enough for just taking the time to do this.
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity, and to everybody out there, thank you guys for just doing what you're doing. You provide a great resource to everybody. The reason Google does this is we want people to find the best, most relevant information, and for all of you, your products, your services in your local community is the best, most relevant products and services, and we just want to connect you with those customers. And we want you guys to be the next great small business success story. So I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Awesome, Demming. Once again, this has been Demming Bass, National Google Speaker, brought to you in part by Big West Marketing, Reed Mobile Marketing, and then the Small Business Development Council. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will talk to you soon.